With good news for today from Baptist Press, I'm Brandon Porter. While the Commerce Department reported a decline in the gross domestic product for a second quarter in a row, one financial expert does not believe a potential recession should be the primary focus of market observers. David Spica, Chief Investment Officer for Guidestone, says the real key is how consumers are faring during times of financial turbulence. He believes the Federal Reserve will be forced to continue raising interest rates to counter rising inflation, and that will push the economy into a recession. Spica says when churches consider the potential impact, they should prepare for a decrease in giving. He encourages churches to go slow if they're in the midst of a building project or considering entering a high-cost financial project. Spica believes a recession is often the best thing that can happen in the long run because it will help lower prices and drive down inflation for consumers. Pastors and church leaders across the mountains of eastern Kentucky are asking fellow believers to pray that the rains would stop across the region. Some areas are reporting as much as 13 inches of rain in a 48-hour period this week. Homes, businesses, and communities are facing tremendous flooding, and rescue crews are struggling because of the high waters. The waters aren't expected to crest for days. One pastor told Baptist Press of a church member who rescued a family member who was standing on her kitchen counter with water up to her ankles when they reached her.
Good News for Today is made possible through our friends at the Voice of the Martyrs, a nonprofit organization that serves persecuted Christians around the world. Founded in 1967 by Richard and Sabina Wurmbrand, VOM is dedicated to inspiring believers to deepen their commitment to Christ and to fulfill His Great Commission, no matter the cost. Find out more and sign up for their free monthly magazine at vom.org/good news.
Opponents say a newly proposed rule by the Biden administration would violate the freedom of conscience of healthcare providers by requiring them to participate in gender transition procedures and abortions. The Department of Health and Human Services proposed the regulation that would bar discrimination on the basis of sex, which it says includes sexual orientation, gender identity, and pregnancy termination. Sex is one of several categories protected from discrimination under a section of the 2010 Affordable Care Act implemented by the rule. Matt Bowman, senior counsel with Alliance Defending Freedom, says physicians should never be forced to perform a controversial and medically dangerous procedure that goes against their best judgment or religious beliefs. You can read the full story at our website, baptistpress.com. Thanks for listening to Good News for Today.